Today I want to review a headset that I've grown a little attached to over the last few months, especially during lockdown. There's nothing like having a decent high-end device, especially when the kids are running around and the dog's barking and all that kind of care. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So the device I'm looking at today is the Jabra Evolve2 85. I'm not going to get into the actual comparison of audio with ANC on and off and hear through and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to talk about the actual device itself. There are very many reviews on YouTube already that have done a really sterling job, a professional job of the actual audio, and so that'll help you to make a choice based on audio alone. But I want to look at the other aspects of the headset to see if I can perhaps highlight a few things that you didn't know. So firstly, I do love the hard case. I'm a bit of a sucker for a hard case. I'm very often traveling. Well, I used to be traveling. So you chuck that in your laptop bag and off you go, crush proof, so that's quite handy, and keep your headset safe. It is a premium headset, so you do want to keep it safe. Good solid zip as well. I'll just open that up so that you can see what it looks like on the inside. Now, on first impression, the first thing I notice is a little diagram over here. This is a great idea. Well done, Jabra. This is a great idea because this shows you how to fold the unit to get it back into the case. Believe me, it looks simple, but you get it wrong all the time. And so that is a really clever little idea, a little add-on. The other thing is a little tuck-away spot over here for my dongle. Now, it does come in a few different flavors. This is the Teams variant, as can be seen by the little Teams logo on the headset over there, that little button. But this is also not the USB-C dongle, which you do have as well. I like how it sits in there nice and snug, and you'll see it doesn't fall out. So no more missing dongles. Great. Another thing that I like. Check. We've got a few other adapters. Remember when we used to fly in planes? Yeah, I won't be needing that. Comes with a nice charging cable, USB-C, because the headset itself has a little USB-C socket for charging purposes. It also comes with a 3.5mm jack cable, and that's quite handy when your headset is run out of power and you still need to connect it and listen to something, what was this again? For this. Right, very good. So let's look at our actual headset just real quick. I'll just pull it out here. Now, first thing is, it weighs about the same as the other premium headsets in this range. There's probably only one brand I can think of that is substantially lighter. So it does feel like a solid device. It's got lots of flexibility. And so, as you can see, it snugs up quite tight. It's made of some sort of a plastic. And what I do like is, of course, is that when the headset opens up, the clips clip in like that. And you can see once they're clipped in, they're clipped in. They're not going to pop out. Now again, the headset's got lots of room to move. And then, of course, you can extend it out like that and bring it in really wide. So there's of course, the wider it goes, the more tension it creates, but it's fairly good. And I like how it's all tucked away. You can feel the little moving mechanisms. It feels like steel in there with a nice, pretty firm piece of foam in there. And then, of course, the headset cushions themselves are fairly soft. They're very soft, and you can get replacement cushions, which is great because these things, stubble and that sort of thing tends to chew through these guys. A few things I like. The cups are nice and big. They're not too wide, the foam. In fact, it's just the ridge over there, and so it doesn't create too much heat, which I really like. There's a bit of space in here, as you can see. I need the extra space, so that's pretty good. It's quite frustrating or annoying when something's actually touching your ear, so again, good. I like that. Fits very well. Flipping it around, there's a bunch of features about this aesthetically that you can quickly talk about. We've got the two little gold pins over there. That's for this charging base. You don't need the charging base. It's a nice to have when you put the headset like that, and it fits in there quite snug. And there you go. And whilst it's sitting in there, a little magnetic bit over there, it sits over there and charges ever so nicely, which is really handy. Of course, mine's already fully charged, so I won't need to do that. But if you're on the road, you don't have to take that with you. You can just take this cable with and you're all sorted. Now, again, we have our right and left, so we can tell which way is which. I'll just put it on for a moment and talk about the boom. So always getting it to sit the way that I want, nice and comfy. And then I always find that just twisting them ever so slightly gives you the best wearing experience. We've got this little tucked away boom here, which is really cool. It sits in there and it clips in quite decently. And then of course it moves down, but it also twists in. And what I like about that is you can see there's no chance of me breathing on the actual microphone. So that popping of the P's and the S's, that, the sound I'm talking about, or the breathing. Oh, that's the worst, when somebody breathes in it. Now, yes, it's true. You could kind of have it in the incorrect. It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to put in the wrong place, isn't it? Which is cool. What's nice as well is if you tuck the microphone away, it mutes, and when you pop it out, it answers. And then you've got the voice navigation. If you've turned that on in the software, it is on by default. It'll tell you that it's been muted or it hasn't been muted. So that's so far so good, right? Now this isn't the only option. You could tuck that away, and there's an array of microphones. You can see them over there. There's an array of microphones on both sides, and they will allow you to use it without using the microphone. Now that's pretty handy. I've used that in that mode as well, and the experience is pretty good, better than expected, I would say. But I do prefer speaking with a microphone. It just gives you that extra level. There's something to be said about having a microphone, right? So it's kind of like Jabra have gone, well, we've got our flagship headset. This is it over here. It's a decent looking headset, but like many of the Boomless headsets, it's just missing that extra little bit of oomph when you need the boom microphone. So they've kind of incorporated that as well. So that was very smart. It's a little bit different, isn't it? Coming back to the actual headset itself, we've got an array of controls around the sides, and I'll just talk about some of the highlights. So for me, one of the highlights is on the actual boom, there's a little button. I don't know if you can see that little button over there. When you're wearing the headset, that button will trigger your voice assistant on your phone. So in my case, my Siri goes, listening. So that's pretty cool. The other thing that I found really handy, and I'll just turn it on so you can see, we've got our power button on the side over here, little Bluetooth connector, which just pops up, and there you go, I'm connected. Now notice we've got basically a busy light. That's right, folks, a busy light built into the headset. Now it won't connect, so the busy light won't engage. And the reason why it's not going to connect to my PC at the moment is because the dongle's actually in here. Now just a word on the dongle, by the way. Don't pair your headset to your PC direct. Yes, I know it works. Not the best idea, right? It doesn't give you the best experience, just a little bit sub-experience, I would say. So we've got this busy light, which is great when you're using Teams. Now, this Teams button does two things. One is when you click it and you're connected to Teams and you're not, in a call, what it'll do is it'll pop your Teams application to be the focus. Okay, nice to have. But the other thing is that it also doubles as an answer or reject or end, so an accept or end call button, which is quite handy. On some of the other models I've reviewed before, you can accidentally reject or decline or disconnect a call because of the lack of something that simple. So I do like that. That's pretty clever stuff. We've got the usual stuff like volume up, volume down, mute button. The volume up and volume down, if you press them for a second and hold them, it'll skip to next track. Maybe you spend a bit of time in Spotify, as do I. And then, of course, we've got our pairing buttons and so on. Now, a little bit more about the headset, just looking at it physically. I'm going to go back a few years to one of these. This was, in my opinion, this was the beginning of a new generation of UC headsets. When I saw this headset the first time, it blew me away. It was just as now, not connected, and yet the ANC still blew my socks off. I'd never heard anything like that before in this industry, which was pretty damn crazy. So this headset had some really cool features going for it. We had that little wobbly sort of swivel motion it did, which was really nice. But this is generation 1, you could say, and that is where we're at now. So again, lots of room in here. The cups were a lot bigger. These used to make you sweat. Now, mine are if you're with Jabra and you have a set of cups laying around, send them to me. I'll take them off your hand in a heartbeat. because I still use these, believe it or not. They're very, very, very soft up there, so they're very comfortable. The only thing I can remember being a little bit of a problem is a lot more tension, A lot more tension, so it would hurt after a while. Whereas these you can wear for a good amount of the day. These ones, I reckon, about 2 hours and I would start hurting. But some things never cease to amaze me. This was a great idea back in the day. It was basically a large high-end headset with a mic that almost tucked away, almost. It popped out same way. It only went the one way, to the right. So you don't have the left-right that some of the headsets do, but that's okay. It was fairly comfortable, and it sat over there, and the only thing that I recall being a problem is that if you put them over here, that was all good, but they're kind of in the way. So what do you want to do? You want to curl them? You can't. For some reason, they curl the other way. Now, you can't swap them around because the microphone is on this end. So, interestingly, we still have that. That's something that surprised me. And I need to find out from the design team what the reason is for that, because, you know, yeah, I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm sure there's going to be some reason that I haven't thought of. But a great headset. It's right up there in price. It's got some really good features, and one of the secrets of this headset that perhaps you haven't thought about is Jabra Direct, the software. The software to control this beauty is, for me, it's probably one of the most compelling reasons to invest in the Jabra suite. The Jabra Direct software is superb. It's super easy to use, super flexible. You can customize the audio so that you can change, you know, an equalizer's built in there. You can change the way it works, whether it detects that you're putting it on and off to answer calls. You can disable the microphones because you can use those mics without you can disable that. Quite a bit of stuff you can do with it. But most importantly is it manages the updates. So for me, this headset is a beauty as of probably the last 3 or 4 months. Before that, the software was a little bit premature perhaps, but they've done a superb job in getting it to where it is now. So I really do love it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.